Is good, everybody, and welcome to Weekday Wagers, the midweek, the Wednesday edition, which, thank goodness, we are here. It's here because every single Wednesday, you know exactly what that means. We got a little Robby's radar, and that's coming up here in about 5-6 minutes. What a absolute dud of a night on the ice last night for us. Before we get into all of this, about what's happening for today, what's happening for our best bets, which will be coming up a little bit later. Please, if you could do us a favor on your way in, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really does help us grow, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. Make sure you vote for the People's Parlay. And, yesterday, where I let everybody down was on that power play, Edmonton. Thank goodness Connor McDavid got his 4+ shots on goal for Robby. But could the Oilers do anything last night for us? And yeah, let me ask you, Rob, because basically that's what the Oilers did. They just didn't show up last night. How are you doing today? And give me your breakdown on what happened last night.
Phew, yeah, it was a terrible night on the ice overall. I'm glad I went to sleep and woke up to Connor shooting it 3 more times in the third period. But as Joe said, I guess Caesars graded it as a loss. My book counted as a win. I saw where ESPN and the Score app both counted it as a win. So I'm going to keep the cash at this point.
Yeah, listen, if they count it as a win, a win's a win, a win. I wonder why that's interesting. I wonder why Caesars graded that as a loss. Huh.
I don't know. They were very, very picky last night. I saw Hyman was up to almost 6 at one point, and I think he dropped down to 4 or 5 before the game was even over. That's one of the reasons why I hate that prop. But when you got a guy doing it, and I'm probably going to have another one tonight, is when it's consistent the way those guys are, you just have to do it.
Okay.
Oh,
well, good news.
They made it a win now.
Good news. Thank you. Yeah, they did make it a win. So, listen, first period shots on goal props are akin to first period unders for me. All right. It takes, especially now with the way that these graders are rating each shot, what used to be considered a no-brainer shot on goal now, they just don't register it for whatever reason. So yes, kudos to you for going with the shots on goal play last night.
Yeah, his point didn't come through, but Edmonton only put up 1 goal the entire game. What a dud game that was overall. Anytime you bank on Edmonton showing up, they never do. It just seems to be a trend lately.
Yeah, yet they're explosive. And the one night that you don't target those guys, or you don't target an Edmonton team, they're going to go off, and you'll be like, what the hell what was I thinking? I know better than that.
Yep, 100%. I was also disappointed in the Blue Jackets. They were on such a high with the coaching change, and they laid a dud last night against an Ottawa team that's really not that good either. I know they got their own drama going on, but I wasn't too happy with that one. The Montreal game was another one that was kind of a dud. Caulfield came in the clutch, even though I texted you and DG, and I was like, hey, this game's going to overtime. These are the 2 I like for a goal. I bet those props, and then, of course, Caulfield scores with like 15 seconds left.
15 seconds left.
Get there.
Well, listen, let's move on from the dud that happened last night on the ice, and let's talk about maybe not a dud in the National Football League. We're talking about Capri, the Capri coach, going to my LA Chargers as the offensive coordinator. Mike McDaniels reportedly has agreed to sign on with the Chargers as the offensive coordinator there. Do you think that's a good fit for both the team or for McDaniels?
Yeah, because even though the stint didn't work in Miami overall as a head coach, he's still a great coordinator. Going back to his times at the Niners and Cleveland and Washington, all those stops he was at, he's still a great offensive coordinator. Guys like him, and even Dan Quinn, I don't really think of much of him as a head coach, but I think he's a hell of a defensive coordinator. So with Harbaugh at the helm, I think that's a good match made in heaven. Depends on what they can do to shore up the offensive line. I know a lot of that was injuries, but Keenan Allen's getting older, so you're probably going to have to get some more weapons. But I do think Ladd McConkey's season might be open for business again next year.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do think Mike McDaniels getting fired from Miami, the worst thing that he could have done was jump into another head coaching spot. I think that he's one of those guys that this is probably the best scenario for him, even if he's with the Chargers for a year or two, turns the things around for them offensively that they need to address, and really starts to make his mark again as an offensive-minded coach. I think then he'll be ready to jump back into the right head coaching spot, not any head coaching spot, but the right one. And I really do think that he can turn around this team offensively and get it from being so one-sided. The Chargers right now are so pass offense reliant because, to your point, the offensive line has been decimated. You know, they started this year decimated. They finished this year decimated, and it showed as far.
Yeah. Is Mark froze or am I froze?
As how they.
Think you're lagging. I think either you're lagging.
No, I think I just came unfroze. Wow. Okay.
There you go. Never can tell when it's me.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening right now.
Okay.
It's ghosts in the machine.
Everybody's saying it's you, not me.
Yeah. Good. All right. It's my turn. My turn. We all take turns with this technology stuff. So,
yeah.
Getting back to my point, I don't know how much of that you heard, but I really do think McDaniels is a good fit to turn around this Chargers offense.
I got the majority. It was just the tail end that you kind of started lagging a bit. But I agree. And you think back to those first days in Miami, they were a scoring machine. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, all those guys. I remember betting Tyreek Hill props left and right that season when he first took over, and it was a cash cow. So I think you have the weapons there. Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey, Rondé Gadsden, the tight end that came on at the end of the year. You've got him on the cheap, and he should be back again next year. So shore up that offensive line, and I think you could be rolling again.
Now, speaking of rolling, can we talk about what happened late this morning in Buffalo with Pagula, the owner of the Bills, just absolutely rolling the bus over the coaching staff and really kind of making excuses for their GM right out of the gate?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty terrible. I think when McDermott came out, and I guess he said we didn't have the pieces to go where we needed to go, that's on the GM. I mean, the coach can only get you so far. The GM signs the checks. Trust me, I have a crappy one in Dallas who won't go away. So I think it's more Bean should have been gone before McDermott. Then if you have a bad year, it's McDermott. Then you got to start looking elsewhere at the quarterback spot. But it was a complete bleep show this morning. And like you said, he ran him over and then he backed over him again just for good measure.
I know that the Bills are going into a new stadium next year. They're obviously going in with a new head coach. Who do you think would be a good fit for a Bills team, especially when you have a guy like Josh Allen who is so reliant upon that relationship with the head coach?
I don't know if it's the sexiest pick, but everybody keeps saying Brian Daboll returning back to Buffalo because of how Josh Allen sees Brian Daboll. And I know they had a lot of good years when he was there as the offensive coordinator. That's probably on my short list. If I had to bet on it, that would probably be who I think goes back. But then what does that do to Joe Brady? Does he stay and continue to be offensive coordinator, or does he go elsewhere as well? But I think just because you're trying to get your quarterback who he wants, I would say Brian Daboll is probably on the short list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I will refrain from having a comment about Brian Daboll. I just, I was expecting him to be on the coaching carousel at the end of the season. No, I'm kidding. That's if you know, you know.
Oh yeah.
But listen, Wednesdays are here for a reason. That reason. Robby's radar, and I love this look. Look at this graphic. You got the recruit, then to the pro, a little before, a little after, little yin, little yang. This is Ramondre Stevenson going into Denver to take on the Broncos with the quarterback issues that they're having right now. Why do we like Stevenson?
For that reason. You're going against a backup quarterback. You've gone against a defense where I don't trust any wide receiver on New England's roster right now. And Ramondre Stevenson's starting to get the bulk of the carries. Look, it looks like the fumbling issues are also gone. I'll say that, and he'll fumble twice this weekend. But, he's been good at holding on to the ball as of late. So I'd really love to attack him. I think if New England can go up 7-10 points, they're just going to lean on that ground game and try not to make Drake May make any mistakes. I looked at a lot of his props. The one that I would shy away from might be his rushing and receiving. It's pretty low. It's around 70.5. But Denver does not allow a lot of running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield. I would focus more on his rushing yards and maybe even an anytime touchdown, depending on what the odds are.
And are you surprised or shocked? I guess this is probably the better question, at the balance that the Patriots have seemed to find between both Stevenson and Travion Henderson.
I just never understood the love Vrabel had for Stevenson, but I guess a lot of that he was right. I mean, he's quit fumbling and he's looked like the better running back of the two as of late. I don't know if Travion's dealing with an injury as well. I think there was some reports that he might be a little banged up, but as far as the playoffs have gone, Ramondre's been on point. He's been killing it in every game they've played. And like I said, you got a defense that's going to cover your wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, your wide receiver number 1, going against Patrick Surtain, and Diggs hasn't done anything yet, and I don't think he's going to do anything again against Surtain this weekend.
Okay, and Derek brings up a great question. What about attempts, Robby? What do you like for his attempts?
That was tricky. I was looking at that last night. I think he gets the bulk of the attempts, but when I looked at it, I feel like the number was high. I'm going to look at it again real quick. I know Stevenson's has gone down, but I looked at it last night. It's at 12.5. It's not bad. He had 16 last week. And if Travion is hurt, I think he could get the bulk of them. It's not a bad look. 12.5 is not a bad look for Stevenson. It still just kind of worries me a bit when you have a dual threat at running back with him and Henderson.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's stick with the same team. Go to little Hunter Henry. Look at that dude. He was rocking. Love it. Why do we like Hunter Henry in this spot?
Well, again, not touching any wide receiver from New England, and I can't find a Denver prop that I love on offense. Jarrett Stidham's too much of a wild card. Hunter Henry did not do much last week against Houston, but he really didn't have to. The running backs carried the load, and then as far as the New England defense, they also carried the load, so there wasn't a lot that he had to do. But he's gone over his receiving prop in 6 of his last 10 games and in 11 of 18 overall. You also don't have anybody behind him. Austin Hooper is a serviceable tight end. He's going to be there for blocking, not receiving. And then the Buffalo tight ends went off last week. Knox and Kincaid combined had 115 receiving yards. I think Hunter's line is around 40 this week. Everybody that I seen on Twitter last weekend were pissed off. I know a lot of people had Hunter Henry props. So it would be the thing for Henry to do to come out this week and go off. He's also he has his quarterback. When your quarterback's playing on the road, an AFC championship game, who's he going to go to the most? That's his safety valve, the tight end position. I think they can expose the middle of the field where Denver's a little bit leaky, and I think Hunter can have a good game this weekend.
Well, listen, you got to appreciate the fact that Hunter Henry also looks like a Duke lacrosse alum. So that's kind of funny. I like that. Let's go to the next game. We've got Colby Parkinson. First of all, that's either a Coneheads from back in the Saturday Night Live, the old time SNL days, a Coneheads, or I knew a lot of kids that used to have to wear those helmets.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one. Either way, it's a goofy helmet. But you know who's not goofy? That's Colby on the field. We cashed him last week. And if this had been the regular season, I wouldn't put 2 guys on here back-to-back weeks, but we're down to the nitty-gritty now. I think Colby's going to have another great game. As far as his props go, every prop for him is in play. The lines are still very low for him. He's been a model of consistency as well. He's cashed us out last week against Chicago. He had a great game. I think his receiving line's around 22.5. You can even buy that down to 20 and still get good odds. But with the defensive scheme is going to sell out for Puka and Devontae Wright. So it's going to leave Colby to have to get some more yards. There's also his longest reception prop. It was at 12.5. And this dude has been averaging around 17.6 for his longest reception. So I love that one as well. His lines just seem too low. I know Tyler Higbee's there, kind of as another one that you got to look out for, but it's been Colby's show the last few weeks, especially playoffs.
So in that same vein, right? Because if we're getting Colby here with a ton of value, ton of upside to his prop, does that scare you away from the Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams as far as them being able to reach their lines? Because their lines right now are high to begin with.
And that's the reason. You're looking at guys that already have extremely high lines. As we're going to talk about here in a second with Seattle and Kenneth Walker, his lines are already really high. And you think back to that last Seattle-LA game, Devontae Adams was out. So he had to target Puka almost all the time, and he was just playing out of his mind that game. I don't know how that's going to affect this week with them both sharing the workload in the wide receiver area. You also have two running backs in Corum and Williams who are both dealing with some lingering injuries. I know Williams, I think, got banged up at the end of that game last week. So you're going to have to lean on your tight end because the defense is going to have them shut down. Seattle's defensive corners are some of the best in the league, probably right up there with Denver as far as shutting down the wide receivers.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our next guy, A.J. Barner.
Yeah, baby.
From Aurora, apparently. Why do we like A.J. Barner?
A.J. the barn burner. Man, I like him this weekend because he hasn't done anything as of late. But when you looked at that beatdown last week to San Francisco, they only threw the ball 17 times in that game. I mean, there wasn't a lot for him to do. It was all Kenneth Walker's show. Like I said, his lines are already way too much. Even his anytime touchdowns, way too much. But for some reason, Barner loves playing this LA Rams team. In their Week 11 matchup, he had a career-high 10 receptions for 70 yards. He followed that up in Week 16. He caught 4 of 6 targets for 49 yards and the game-winning touchdown to seal that one in overtime. He's also getting 19% of the red zone share for Seattle as well. I think this is a week where you don't sleep on Barner. I think he could still have a big game, even though he hasn't done much so far in the playoffs.
Well, and so much of that really, the one game that Seattle has played in these playoffs, their special teams and defense put them up 17-0 to start the game. There was not a whole lot of need for even Sam Darnold to even do anything but just control and keep the lead. That was it. Let's just very controlled, feed Walker, let him do his thing, and call this one done.
Yeah, it feels weird having, JSN's been on this radar probably 3 or 4 times this season and not having him in the biggest game of the season just feels weird. But I think there's better edge on the tight end, especially Barner in this game, and you're not paying a heavy price. I know his receiving line was right around 26 or 27 yards. I mean, the guy could probably get that on 2 or 3 catches, and I think they're going to use him a lot more in this game.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we have come to that point. I hope everybody was taking notes because literally we've got 3 games left in the NFL season. Yeah. There's 3 games left, which means that not next Wednesday, 2 weeks from now, maybe we split up Robby's radar, go 2-2.
Focus on one team in the Super Bowl one week, focus on the other one the next week. Yeah. I will tell you, getting my player props in, I will start getting those in early in the week next week as soon as they become available. Because you think the odds go up now, wait till the books can set on these odds for a week and a half, 2 weeks. You're going to get obscene numbers before kickoff. So if you are playing player props in the Super Bowl, the earlier the better.
Gotcha. You know what? I will say this. You know what has not gone up? The cost of this.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Seabass, the only 5-star chef in the game. We all know sports betting is full of bad beats and tough calls, but when it comes to flavor, there's no second guessing. Bassett's Blends is the plus EV lock of every meal. We don't need a stinking model. Crafted with winning spices and bold taste, Bassett's Blends comes in 3 flavors, original, hot, and no salt, that's going to turn chicken, steak, vegetables, any dish into a can't-miss cover every night. With Bassett's Blends, there's no bad beats, no flavor fades, just guaranteed greatness. Check out the link right here where you can pick up your Bassett's Blends for a guaranteed lock every single night.
Oh, I love it. Where did I go? There we go. This is what's happening. Look, I am taking the Washington Capitals on the 3-way money line. Why? Because the Canucks have been cooked. And this is one of those spots you don't need to overthink it. You just need to understand the urgency here. Washington hasn't been great lately, and they're still right in the playoff picture. They're still fighting for it. And games like this are exactly how veteran teams stay alive. Vancouver's, they have been completely spiraling. They've lost 11 straight. They're dead last in the league, and they've been especially bad at home. There is nothing about the way the Canucks are playing right now that inspires any sort of confidence, especially offensively. They're struggling to score. They're giving up chances in bunches. And when things go sideways, they tend to unravel very, very quickly. What I like most here is the goaltending edge. We get Logan Thompson, who has been the one steady thing for Washington all season. And even when the Capitals haven't really played well in front of him, he's kept them competitive in games where the competition has been much higher than what they're facing tonight. I love that spot, especially when we're backing a team to get things done in regulation. From Washington's perspective, this feels like a handle your business type of game. And when you're facing the worst team in the league on the road with everything still in front of you in the standings, that's the kind of spot where experienced teams usually take it seriously and they get the job done. Rob, what do you want?
Love that Capitals look. Yeah, Vancouver sucks. I'm going to go back to a guy you've seen on here a few times, and he's cashed every time we've had him on here, and that's Mikhail Sergachev. This is another 2-for-1 play. I'm playing his 2 shots on goal. Grab that at -125 at Fanatics. I think the line's up to -130, -135 now. So you're drinking a little bit of juice, but I'm also playing his 1+ point at -102. Look, the guy at home is just nothing but automatic. He's cleared 2+ shots on goal and 10 straight at home. The Flyers started off the season really well on the penalty kill, and since then they have been absolutely terrible. They've given up 5 goals in 5 of their last 6 games. I think Utah handles their business tonight. I think Sergachev keeps shooting the puck at home. Hopefully we get 2 shots and a point. We can cash both of those tickets.
Love it. Love it. Love it. You know what else I love? And we were talking about this right before we came on. Do you know our Light the Lamp segment has been absolutely kicking ass? Okay, let me rephrase that. Our Light the Lamp list of players, because we're playing them to score a goal. But the beautiful thing in hockey is that you can also play them to score a point instead of a goal, which gives them more opportunities to be involved with the offense, opens the door for everything. We've had 10 players on the list so far this week. Out of the 10 players on our list, 9 of those players have registered a point. What does that mean? It means if you played all 5 today and put them in a point parlay instead of playing them to score a goal, that is a plus 444 little nugget. Just keep that in mind. Because who do we have? We've got Nathan MacKinnon tonight to score a goal. Light the lamp. Nathan MacKinnon at -115. Which I still think is a bargain. Austin Matthews at +110. Alex DeBrincat at +150. Brock Nelson at +160. And Travis Konechny, right? That's how you pronounce that? Konechny at +235. Yeah. Rob, do you like anybody on this list, or are you going off the board?
McKinnon's my favorite on the list. And to your point with the point parlay, if you don't want to do all 5, you can still grab 3 of these guys, maybe even 2 of these guys, depending, and still get plus money. As a point parlay. So just keep that in mind too. If you don't want to play all 5, you don't have to, but cashing 9 out of 10, that's pretty great odds. And Zach Hyman last night should have had a point. Edmonton just, does what Edmonton does on a cardio night. I'm going off the board, Mark. I'm going with a guy because I've hit 2 of these this week. So I'm going to go with another one off the board. I'm going to take Clayton Keller for the Utah Mammoth at +165. Look, he hasn't scored a goal in, I think, maybe once out of his last 10 games. Looks terrible. He hasn't scored a goal against Philly since 2022 when he had a hat trick against him. But it's the way Philly has been playing as of late. They're absolutely terrible. I think tonight is Keller's night to get 1 goal, possibly even 2 goals against Philly.
All right. I am going with my man, Brock Nelson at +150. Why? Because to your point, he hasn't scored a single goal against Anaheim the 4 times he's ever faced the Ducks. But when he plays at home, he has scored a goal in 5 of his last 7 home games. And offensively, the Avalanche are absolutely cranked right now. I love this spot for Brock Nelson to get on the board. Again, Nathan MacKinnon at -115. I still think it's tremendous value simply because his goal scoring should be at like 1.5 instead of just 1. So I think that there's tremendous value there, but give me Brock Nelson at the +160.
I like that look. There's a lot actually on Colorado tonight that have longer odds but have good history against Anaheim. Ross Colton is a guy I'm thinking of. Arturi Lincoln is another guy. Take a dart, throw it, and I think you're going to be on track with a goal scorer in this one. I know DG loves his Ducks, but I don't know if they're going to fare too well tonight against Colorado with Colorado at home.
He's got Austin Matthews at plus 110 and the gold chain himself at plus 240. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Austin Matthews, he's not my Ellie De La Cruz because we haven't got to baseball yet. So my ban list is fresh. So Ellie's not on there yet. It'll take him 1 week. He'll be on there. I usually do decent with Matthews, but I don't like the matchup with Detroit. It seems like when I'm on Matthews against Detroit, he usually falls through for me. Cutter Goldchain had 2 goals the other night. I know this because I dropped him in fantasy because he hasn't done much lately. So, of course, he scored 2 goals the other night. And somebody just picked him up, so he probably won't score tonight.
Perfect. Speaking of scoring, we do have some plays in the chat that I want to get to. Big Cheesy gave us the Hawks team total over 119.5. Any thoughts on that?
Nope, because I don't watch the NBA.
All right, not a problem. And he's also got, is that San Diego or South Dakota State plus 1.5?
I imagine San Diego State. It has to be San Diego State. I do know enough that they're probably better than Saints. Who did you? South Dakota State?
Yeah.
And they're only one hammers.
It's only one hammer. Yeah, these are only one hammer plays. So you approach these cuffs. Probably just sprinkle.
Yeah.
Nonsense McGee, my friend, it has been a long time. We are so glad you're back in the chat. So he's got a nice little 3-leg nonsense fun parlay where he's going Cleveland, Charlotte over 236. I do know the first half is a model indicated play for the over. Brooklyn, New York Knicks over 221, another first half model over. And OKC, Milwaukee. I am not sure if that is an over or not. OKC, Milwaukee. That's a neutral game for the model site. So he does like those 3 legs, put them in. I don't know what the odds are on that. That's not on there.
I don't see the odds on there. But welcome back. Nonsense.
Yeah.
I know you've been working your butt off, so I'm glad to see you got a day off or at least an hour off to come and join us.
And we got Tosh, who's given us Michael Porter Jr. over 23.5 points. I know that game is the Brooklyn, New York Knicks game. Michael Porter Jr. being a Missouri Tiger alum. I didn't know that.
I did.
I just flexing knowledge everywhere.
Not Nate, and Nate says, I don't watch the Load Management Association. I used to. As a kid, you couldn't pry me away from the TV. I loved watching the NBA, but as an adult, it's just not my thing. I will watch the Orlando Magic, but they're never on TV, especially in Tennessee. But yeah, if the Magic ain't playing and it's not in June, I'm probably not watching.
Well, Joe says he can't wait for baseball.
What about the Mets? Picking up Luis Robert last night. That's a hell of a get from the White Sox.
First of all, it's not surprising that the White Sox, before the season has even started, are already bailing on this season. So that might be another under wins total, depending on what that line comes out at, that I'll look at again. Because
all I know is you'll see a ton of Colson Montgomery from the White Sox, and that's about it for me on that team. I can't wait for him to go to a team, probably the Dodgers here in the next 2 or 3 years.
DG is giving us one more play. Ja Morant, 10 plus assists, plus 193.
Damn.
Wow. Okay. I'd be curious as to why he liked that one. And yeah, Joe, I do know the White Sox went over last season. I know. Look, for those that don't know, I was playing the run line against the Chicago White Sox all season until about a third of the way in, when they actually started to cover and they were doing real well. But thankfully, the Colorado Rockies came through in the clutch for me and made me a ton of money as I faded the Rockies all season. So, yes, I'm flexible. Scotty Too Hottie is giving us Brunson to make 3 threes, right?
Threes. Yeah.
3 threes.
Yeah.
At minus 105. I like that look, especially at home. And I guess the chat has spoken. What do you think they went with?
I don't even remember the options, if I'm completely honest with you. I just know that my leg has been bad. It's been a bum leg the last 2 days. You know, Zach Rowinski, the Blue Jackets couldn't come through. My leg tonight doesn't come through. he needs to retire now. That's all I can say.
Okay. He needs to retire?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a bad bettor. They're bad players.
I know. That's why I was asking. I was just asking for clarification. That's all. Easy. Easy. So we got OKC Thunder on the money line, the Toronto Raptors on the money line, or the Memphis Grizzlies plus 3.5.
Well, DG already said not to back the Grizzlies, take the Hawks. So I would go with anything but the Grizzlies.
Well, that's because the only other team on that list was the OKC Thunder, and DG's not doing anything to do with the Thunder. But the chat said, DG, the Thunder rolls tonight. The chat has come up with the OKC Thunder on the money line for their leg, which puts our parlay at plus 153.
Okay.
So I will get that video shot and posted for us on the Weekday Wagers channel in the shorts. That'll be up here probably within the next 20, 25 minutes. So make sure you have your notifications on for that. Rob, what are you watching tonight?
Utah, the Utah game. I think, for one, I'm probably going to be more invested in it later. JTS, I have 2 plays on the site. That tells you how much I think of this hockey slate tonight.
Oh, okay. I thought you had 2 plays on the Utah game.
No, not yet. Could be possible.
I do.
But
I do.
Yeah, actually, I do have 2 plays because Sergachev plays for Utah. So yeah, I have 2 plays, 2 and 1. But it's a bad night on the ice. I don't really like the slate. And then tomorrow, John's going in for his second surgery. So hopefully get the scarring cleared up and get him back on track. So that's why you won't see me tomorrow. So you and DG are going to have to hold down TV timeout tomorrow.
Oh, yes. I'm all caught up on my Trader shows too.
Yeah.
I'm all thrilled. Yeah, I got it. Well, yes, I'm very excited about that. And Derek, to answer your questions, what are our 2 legs? That, my friend, gets revealed in the short that comes out right after the show, right here on the Weekday Wagers YouTube channel. So just, you know what? If you don't catch it when we post it on our social feeds, for whatever reason, you don't catch it there, check back here in about 25, 30 minutes, go under the shorts heading. You'll see it right there. How's that?
100%.
Or as Kim says, left and right. Those are our 2 legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully mine can stand up this night.
So with that, listen, I can't wait to tune in tomorrow. To not tune in, but to be here tomorrow. To fill in for you is what I meant to say. With DG as we break down the traders. I am all caught up on all 5 episodes and am putting together my application package so I can apply for the Traders US. Can't wait. So again, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. The chat has been absolutely popping and just jumping all over the place. I love it. It gives us so much energy when we see you guys in there just going to town. We will see you again here tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern time. Me, DG, with a little trader talk and our best bets. Until then, be kind to one another and let's cash these tickets. We'll see you then.